in faithful manners to promote your honor and glory, and to advance the peace, prosperity, and welfare of our country and of those whose interest you've committed to our charge. Amen. Thank you, honorable members. Welcome to the sitting of today. That is Wednesday, the 12th day of March, 2025 at 2:30 p.m. Clerk, confirm we have the requisite quorum to transact today's business.
Mr. Speaker, the House is not quorate.
There being no quorum to commence the business of the day, I direct that pursuant to Standing Order 36, the quorum bell be rung for initial 10 minutes until such a time that quorum shall be achieved.
Our new look, asserting our greatness. If consistency, focus, and resilience had another name, it would be the Nyandarua County Assembly. Being one of the 47 county assemblies created by the Constitution of Kenya,
had all the reasons to do the rebranding.
The meaning of our colors is as follows. Green symbolizes abundance and agriculture as the economic mainstay of the county. Yellow symbolizes hospitality of Nyandarua people. Gold symbolizes winning spirit of Nyandarua people. As we open a new chapter, we are delighted to unveil our new look, which is a microcosm of our commitment to keep bettering our best.
First order.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
I don't have any communication to make at the moment.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers. Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, statements. Order number 8, motions and bills. Under this order, there are 2 motions. The first one is a procedural motion by Honorable Isaac Wajiro, the chairperson, Budget and Appropriations Committee.
Very well, Honorable Isaac Wajiro, chairperson, Budget and Appropriations Committee. Yes, Chair.
A minute, Honorable Speaker.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to move a procedural motion that is to beg the House that pursuant to Standing Order 236 of the motion, Standing Order 236, that the motion, this House does adopt the report of the Committee on Budget and Appropriation on the Nyandarua County Fiscal Strategy paper for the financial year 2025-2026 and the Medium-Term Debt Management Strategy paper 2025 as a report of the House and the recommendation therein as the resolution of the House. This is to request that be exempted from the requirement of the standing order 55B that requires a notice of motion be given at least 1 day before the motion appears on the order paper. And the reason I'm doing this, Honorable Speaker, this afternoon is that as we are all aware, when it comes to the physical strategy paper, there is a timeline by which this House is able to pass and adapt the report. The PFMA Act is very clear that the CFSP should be submitted to this House by 28th of February, which was done by the CCM Finance and Economic Planning. And after that, this House should take 14 days to look at the CFSP and adapt the report. Honorable Speaker, today is the 14th day, and so I'm requesting this House to exempt it from the procedural requirement so that we can be able to execute the business and finalize with the CFSP this afternoon. And I call upon Honorable Bogo to second.
Honorable Bogo.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I second.
Thank you, honorable members. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Honorable Mbogo. I propose the question, which is that pursuant to Standing Order 236, the motion that this House does adopt the report of the Committee on Budget and Appropriations on the Nyandarua County Fiscal Strategy Paper, CFSP, for financial year 2025-2026, and the Medium-Term Debt Management Strategy Paper 2025 as a report of the House and the recommendations therein as a resolution of the House, be exempted from the requirements of Standing Order 55B that requires a notice of motion be given at least 1 day before the motion appears on the order paper. I now put the question, which is that pursuant to Standing Order 236, the motion that this House does adopt report of the Committee on Budget and Appropriation on the Nyandarua County Fiscal Strategy Paper, CFSP, for financial year 2025-2026, and the Medium-Term Debt Management Strategy Paper 2025 as a report of the House and the recommendations therein as a resolution of the House, be exempted from the requirement of Standing Order 55B that requires a notice of motion be given at least 1 day before the motion appears on the order paper. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk, next order.
Under the same order, there is a substantive motion by Honorable Isaac Kongwa Wajiru, the Chairperson of Budget and Appropriations Committee.
Honorable Isaac.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this afternoon I want to move a motion that this House does adopt a report of the Committee on Budget and Appropriation for the Fiscal Strategy Paper 2025-2026 and the Medium-Term Debt Management Strategy Paper 2025 as a report of the House and the recommendation therein. Honorable Speaker, as I submit this report, I want first of all to sincerely give our gratitude to your office, because you requested for your facilitation after the tabling of the report by the CCM Finance on 28th, and you did facilitate us last week. We had a whole house and the members had an opportunity to interact with the CFSP, and also the committee took time to look at it, and as a result we have a report today, and we have been able to meet the deadline. And Honorable Speaker, I'm very grateful because this House has always met the deadline. We have never been able, and this committee especially the budget committee, is always able, despite the challenges and a lot of work, we are always able to go within our deadlines and within our time frames. Honorable Speaker, it is not easy to work on such a document, in such a report within 14 days. It is a bit tricky. Honorable Speaker, I want to attest that yesterday, the members of the budget committee left this house or this facility at around 9. After the assembly, they were able to sit from 5, that is from 4 up to 9. They were still here looking at this document. And I know, previously my secretariat did not sleep. Yesterday they did not sleep, and even today up to 2, we were still working and looking at this document. Because it's a very serious document. It sets the ceiling of our budget and how money will be utilized in the next financial year 2025-2026. So I want to sincerely thank the members of Budget Committee led by the Vice Chair, Honorable Gitau, and all the members. And I also want to sincerely thank the Secretariat. They do a lot of work. I sympathize with them. I sincerely sympathize with them. For the last 2 days, they have not slept. I'm looking at them even in this afternoon, and I can tell things are very serious for them. Led by Mr. Bernard Kifoi, these guys, it's only God who can reward them. I don't think this assembly cannot be able to reward how much effort they put. Only God can be able to reward them. Honorable Speaker, I don't want to go to the committee's mandate. It is well stipulated within the standing order. That is the mandate of the Budget Committee. I also don't want to go to the objectives and the county, that is the objective of the county physical strategy paper. I know the members can be able to look through the document. By now, we are in the 3rd year, and every member, I can assume that they understand what is a physical strategy paper. I don't want to go to the legal framework because it is given to us through the Constitution, through the PFMA Act, through the County Government Act. So within what legal framework we work about the CFSP, I also don't want to go to that. The content of the physical framework, I also don't want to go into that because the member can be able to read and be able to see and what is the content of the physical framework. Honorable Speaker, allow me now to go to the committee's findings and observations. I want to say that essentially, the county physical strategy paper is supposed to be prepared based on the annual development plan. The first budget document within a fiscal year, we start with the ADP, and so the second document is the CFSP, which is county physical strategy paper, and physical strategy paper should be prepared from the annual development plan. So when we look at the ADP, we look at the priorities that are anchored within the CIDP, County Integrated Development Plan, that is 2023-2027, which is the third CIDP for this government, for this county. Honorable Speaker, and I hope you will protect me, member, because the members are consulting on how the voice.
Order, members consulting low tones. Proceed.
So what we did, Honorable Speaker, there were key observation to the submitted to the CFSP. That is, we looked at the CFSP in relationship to the ADP, and we also looked at the performance of this financial year. We were able to look at the first performance, that is between July and December, for the first half, because it also determined how much we give in terms of seeding by looking at the performance of various departments for the first half of the 24-25 financial year. Honorable Speaker, these are the key findings that I want first of all to highlight. The overall projected revenue in the CFSP give us a total of a budget of 8 billion and 184 million. And it has been broken. What is the source? What is our basket? Where are we getting the 8.184 billion? There is shareable revenue. If you look at our ADP, when we were passing the ADP, we gave a shareable revenue of 6.1 billion. When we talk of shareable revenue, this is the money we get through the CARA, that is money that is divided among the 47 counties after the appropriation budget by the National Assembly. Then we have what we call FIF. FIF is Facility Improvement Fund, the money that we intend to collect from our health facilities. If you look at the ADP, I wanted to note before I go to FIF, in ADP, we had estimated that we are going to get 6.1 billion. But by the time we are doing the CFSP, things are very clearer because we have now been able to see the BPS, the budget policy statement, through the National Assembly. There was an increase. Nyandarua is likely to get an increase of 105 million. So it is giving us a shareable revenue of 6.25 billion from the shareable revenue. This is also occasioned by the change of the formula, because it's also remember to know that there is a change of formula by the CRA. The parameters that have been used by the CRA initially, they have changed a bit. And through changing, Nyandarua has benefited, now is getting more, because the terms need to do with the population, geographical region, poverty index, they have changed that formula, and Nyandarua is one of the beneficiaries. We are getting slightly more what we should to get through the former formula. The other source of revenue is USR, that is own source revenue, the revenue that we are going to collect within our county. It has remained at 600 million. The FIF, we estimated that we are going to collect 200 million initially, but we have been able to take that up to 300 million through CFSP. The reason being, when we checked at FIF through the Engineer Hospital and JM Hospital, we realized by the half year, JM alone had collected 115. So if JM alone had collected 115 by December, it means that it can only double that to 230. If you add whatever will be collected from the Engineer Hospital, we are very sure and certain that FIF will be able to collect around 300 million and not 200 as estimated earlier. So there was an increase of 100 million there. And then there is what we call the conditional grants. Initially, we thought that when we were doing the ADP, we had forecast that we are going to receive 964 million, 0.82. But there is an increase of 114 million to 1 billion and 78 million, 0.92. There are some conditional grants now that we are sure we are most likely to get them. And this is to do with the KDSP, Kenya Devolution Support Program. And so that we have to increase that amount because now we are very sure we are going to get that amount. Honorable Speaker, I don't want to go per department on how much we have been able to do, because we start from the county, the office of the county secretary, but I can maybe touch a few issues. For example, the county secretary introduced something new that is called fleet system management with an allocation of 3 million. This had not been factored in ADP. We want to have a new fleet management system in the office of the county secretary. If you look at the public administration and devolution, they have they have enhanced salaries. They had enhanced salaries with 14 million from 2.286 billion to 2.3 billion. In addition, the provision for pension had been enhanced by 10 million from 90 million to 100 million. The medical cover, which has taken us by surprise, we had provided 100 million. It has been doubled to 200 million. Then if you look at public service, there was an introduction of a purchase of a motor vehicle. They want to buy a new motor vehicle, which was initially not there, 14 million. And these are enhancements that were not initially there in ADP. Then when you go to the finance, economic planning, and ICT, the pending bill were hosted in the department, that is the Department of Finance, with an allocation of 250 million in the ADP. However, this is very, very disappointing for the executive, because this assembly had really struggled. We wanted to have a target of 450 million when it comes to the pending bills. because we want to clear the pending bill within the next 2 years in this county. And we had struggled to put 250 million for pending bill within the ADP, but by the time they prepared the CFSP, they had reduced it by 51.51 million to 98.49 million. And there was no justification that was given to that effect. So we don't understand whether this government is very serious on paying pending bill, or why is the assembly allocating money for pending bill. By the time they go back there, they reduce the pending bill. And when the members of this Nyandarua County contractors come complaining, they go telling the contractors it is this assembly that reduced the money. I want this to go into the Hansard in board, that it is not this assembly that reduces the money for pending bill. It is the executive. It should go there in board, and they should never say again to the contractors of this Nyandarua County that it is this assembly that reduces the pending bill. It is the executive, and they never give us the justification. So next time they come here running around that the COB is not approving requisition because they are not paying pending bill, it is their problem. And they are the people who are creating this problem, and they know the situation and the requirement that they have been given by the COB. When it comes to the education, children, gender, culture, and social services, there was a provision for construction. Members of this county assembly, through the reducible minimum, provided 17.7 million for ECD classes. That's out of need about various wards. But when they brought back this document to us, they had now stated that they want to do 75 million to do 2 ECDs in each and every ward. Speaker, no member of this assembly was consulted whether they want to do 2 ECDs in their wards. I can tell you for sure, there are members in this assembly who don't need ECD. They have done their ECDs in their wards. They have completed. But the executive can go sit down somewhere, allocate 2 ECD per ward without any formula of even asking who needs ECD, who doesn't need ECD. Honorable Speaker, we have scrapped that. Let the members say what they want in their ward. That is where we provide irreducible minimum. Otherwise, how do you go doing in wards? There are wards with 10 ECD and they are all done. So there was no criteria that was used. But Honorable Speaker, we noted that they had also provided 25 million. That is 1 million for provision of equipment, of which the members are okay with that because there are various ECD in different wards that do not have equipment. Honorable Speaker, there is something else that is still, we don't know how we are going to deal with it. The Nyandarua University College, but it is now being popularly known as Orojororoko Agriculture Training College. There is some provision of some money we had given, 10 million. There was an increase to 20 million. But I understand that this is in the preparation of the University of Nairobi. And we are looking into that, Honorable Speaker, because we have had a lot of promises, but we don't know whether eventually we will have a university. But we want to see how we are going to go about it. We are hopeful, and our prayers is that we have a university. But Honorable Speaker, health services, another serious issue. We did provide, there is still another very serious argument here. We did provide 10 million for sub-county hospitals. That is Babu, Manunga, Daragwa, Ngano, health centers. Because we are giving them money, we are anticipating that we want this hospital to go to level 4 hospital. But by the time they brought this document back, it has been reduced to 5 million per sub-county hospital, and not 10. And there was an introduction of a new facility called Munyeki Dispensary, which initially never came into our mind or anywhere when we were processing the document at ADP level. Honorable Speaker, another thing that I want to note with a lot of seriousness, there was change, and I don't know whether the member have noted this. The solid waste management was moved from the Department of Health Services to the Department of Water, Environment, climate change and natural resources. Honorable Speaker, as the budget chairman, as the budget committee, we have no problem moving that. But we have never had a single communication from this assembly telling us that there is such executive order of change. So according to us as the budget committee, we remain with the executive order that we all know that the solid management is under health. Otherwise, whenever there is a change in the structure of government, there is a communication that should be made to the speaker, and the speaker should make a communication to the house that there is a change. Otherwise, the cabinet don't just sit, they do their own things, and they let us sit here down and imagine that the changes have taken effect. So according to us, and as speaker, you prove us wrong, we have never had any official communication to us that there is a change. So what we have done, we have taken back the solid waste management to health. Honorable Speaker, things must be done right. Honorable Speaker, there is what we call the strategic stock. We had provided 70 million for strategic stock. When we talk about strategic stock, we are talking about drugs. That is pharmaceuticals. We had provided 70 million in ADP, but when they brought it back, they said 140 million. With FIF, Honorable Speaker, because it's good members to know, we anticipated that when the hospital, JM Hospital and Engineer Hospital collects money, the FIF has given them power to use money at source. And if already JM have collected 115 million, we expect that they are going to buy their own strategic stock together with Engineer Hospital. And what we had provided 70 million is for the small dispensaries and health centers. So, Honorable Speaker, we did not get satisfaction explanation as why we should give it to 140, because that is what we used to give initially before FIF. And remember when the FIF came in, it just tells us that that money will not be going to OSR. They will be using that money at the source within that hospital. So we expect JM, we expect Engineer to be buying their own strategic stock. Honorable Speaker, the other thing that I want to say that there is also a push to have what we call health management information system, which had been allocated 8 million in ADP. But when it comes out to the CFSP, they have scrapped it. We don't know whether they have got another donor or what happened, or it is no longer important. There was no explanation to that. The governor tournament with an allocation of 12 million, that is youth empowerment, sport and arts. There is governor tournament with an allocation of 12 million was scrapped, and the resources moved to youth trainings. Honorable Speaker, some of these things we get a lot of headache. At the CFSP, you come and move the governor's cap and you put it to youth and trainings. And it's okay because it is their program. It's executive. We don't determine what they do. But at supplementary level, you hear a demand coming from the other side telling us that we need to put some money for governor's cap. You know, I'm saying this for the Hansard to write in bold. They have scrapped the governor's cap. Let it not come again later in the financial year telling us to provide the money for governor's cap. Because this is the trick. We come here and pass the CFSP. We give some money for a certain program, 12 million for youth and trainings, which is okay. But later then we are told, no, there was no money for governor's cap. Hey, can you provide the money? You know, this is the trick. If you do not provide it as the seeding level, don't come back to us. It should be written in the bold. Tourism, cooperative development, trade and industrialization. The support cooperative had an allocation of 2 million in the ADP. That is for fencing Marewa cooperative. This physical submitted proposed an enhancement of this allocation to 27 million without specific which cooperative to benefit. As budget committee, we agree we need to enhance money in cooperative because of what is happening with NAF-CDP. We need to strengthen our cooperatives. But then we don't want this money to be left in bulk. That 27 million somewhere, which is not very clear. We are just saying it is to enhance cooperative society. We want that money to be given per ward, and each million should go to one of the cooperative society within each and every ward. Honorable Speaker, there is water, environment, climate change, and natural resources. There was 12 million, which was 12 million and 18 million, which was allocated respectively in the ADP. They were scrapped at the CFSP. That was for dams, distribution of dams, and irrigation infrastructure. Engagement of street sweepers was allocated 3 million. Now, Honorable Speaker, who are street sweepers? They have scrapped a program for dams distribution. I know Honorable Angu Charara is interested on this because there was a motion to that effect that was passed by this house. Not a motion, a bill actually. It is an act. There was in the ADP we provided 12 million for dams distribution and 18 million for irrigation. But it has been scrapped at CFSP. They have provided 3 million for street sweepers. So we are here to know who are these street sweepers. Public works, road transport, housing and energy. The contracted road works with the approved allocation of 306 million in ADP, and members should note this, because later I'm coming to tell you what we have done as the budget committee. I'm telling you what the executive has done, then I'll tell you what we have corrected as the budget committee. For example, and I think every elected member should note this, out of your irreducible minimum that you provided for roads, you had indicated 306 million. When we added cumulatively for all the 25 wards, what you had given to us, it was 306 million in ADP. By the time they bring the ceiling at the CFSP, they had reduced by 62.5 million to 243.5 million. What does that translate to? There are members who did indicate they want to do roads, but those roads has already been scrapped. So that is what the executive did. The other thing they did, when we were saying we want to do what we call the road work using the machinery program, we had allocated 6 million per ward for machinery program, but they reduced to 4. So we had allocated 158 million. There are some members who had given more than 6. That is why we have extra 8 million. But they reduced 50. So they have provided 4 million per ward for machinery. And then the department introduced something new that was not there. They want now to buy 2 trucks and a grader with a proposed budget of 30 million. That is 15 million per truck, that is 30 million, and 20 million for the grader. This was not considered in the ADP. There was also an enhancement of the budget for the electricity bill by 25 million. That is, we had provided 25 million. They are now requesting 50 million. There was purchase of reapers at a cost of 5 million, at the installation of caravans with an allocation of 6 million, which has been now scrapped. In addition, both the deputy governor's residence and the county machinery workshop with an allocation of 10 million and 3 million has also been removed. This allocation had been considered and approved within the ADP. Roads, physical planning and urban development. The department is introducing supporting in issuance of titling document with an allocation of 20 million. We had not considered that. It has now been introduced. I don't know whether it's Honorable Member for Kajwire who pushed for this. The municipalities, the urban infrastructure improvement in all the 3 municipalities was scrapped. I know what the struggle we have with the municipalities. And the infrastructure improvement in the 3 municipalities was scrapped. All the municipalities were allocated 15 million each to procure a garbage truck. In addition, Engineer and Maironya were allocated 10 million each to acquire land for dump sites. Nyandarua County Assembly, the submitted CFSP proposed a development of 80 million, approved in the ADP, and it was reduced to 45 million by removing construction of ward offices, that is 35 million. Revenue estimate, Honorable Speaker, I wanted to give that. That is what the executive did. That is the document. In a nutshell, after giving the ADP. That is the document that came back to us. So now I want to go to, we looked at some other things so that we can now go to what the committee deliberation and what the committee decided. Honorable Speaker, if you look at the revenue estimate for 24-25, I don't want to go back again. It is around 6.137, that is 6,137,355,000 for shareable revenue, that is 72.32%. 600 million for county-owned resource, that is OSR, 7.07%. 250 million, we have reduced. We want to say, we will say later why we are saying 250 and not 300, which is 202.96. And then we have conditional grants at 1.49 billion, which is 17.65%. Honorable Speaker, allow me now to go to, I don't want to go to the departmental expenditure performance for the last financial year, but allow me now to go to the deliberation of the committee. The committee looked at the document, and this is what we agreed. The staff medical cover, that is county executive, be enhanced to Kenya shillings 186 million. Honorable Speaker, after committee sat down, we deliberated on that matter, and we realized whatever is happening with SHE and SHA, the members of that is our employees, allow me to use that word, they are not comprehensively covered. Initially, we used to have an HIF with a comprehensive cover for our staff at the executive. But with now SHE and SHA, they are not having any comprehensive cover. So we said it is their discretion, it is a discretionary, it is their right, and they should be provided with medical cover according to the SRC, and we don't want issues that this budget committee reduced the money for cover. So we were able to do the market survey. There were some tenders that were done, and we were able to know that the lowest bidder could get at 185 million, around that figure, and so we enhanced by 86 million. So we have provided 186 million for the medical cover of our staff. Honorable Speaker, in addition, the county executive pension was enhanced by 10 million to 100. Why is this? We also were able to note that there are new people who came in, especially the ECD teachers. There are ECD teachers who have come in as PNP staff. So there is also need to increase the pension because they have become enrolled as PNP staffs. Then the other thing, the county executive compensation to employees was retained. They had enhanced from 2.286 billion to 2.3. We did not increase, we remained at that level. Why? When we asked them to give us the IPPD data, they have always remained elusive. Honorable Speaker, it is a very sad state that at the third assembly, 13th year of devolution, nobody can be able to tell us the number of employees in this county. Nobody can be able to give you the IPPD data to tell you how many people we pay, which job group, which, we don't know. It has been requested by the budget committee. I have been in the budget committee for 7 years, and each and every year. And I knew even the first budget committee used to ask that. Because the question, this is a figure that keeps fluctuating. For example, there are people who have left job. At the end of this March, there are people who will go for retirement. But we are never given these details. And Honorable Speaker, we have said as budget committee, going forward, we will never increase a penny when it comes to the remuneration of our employees until we are provided with the relevant information. The last time they had requested around 2.4 billion. We reduced it by 100 million. We have never had any employee coming to us saying that he was never paid. This is a very ambiguous figure that remains a thorn to the planning and also to the budgeting committee. That the upgrade of sub-county hospitals, Gano, Daragwa, Manunga, we retained it at 5 million. The strategic stock, we enhanced it at 100 million. There is a calculation that we did, and we were able to tell that 70 was not really enough because of the sub-county hospitals. So we enhanced to 100, but not 140 as they had requested. And then And this we are doing as we are waiting for the SHI and SHA, because even when the SHA start operating, hopefully, even the primary health care and the small facility will be able to collect some money from the FIF. Then we have, Honorable Speaker, there was also some dubious issues when it comes to community health promoters. We had allocated 41.2 million for CHPs. And CHPs is a program that is run by the county government and national government. Shielding for a shielding program. The money that is being provided by the national government is 41.2 million. That means this is the data that they have, the number of CHPs who have been recruited. But they had schemed in a very mischievous way to tell us that they want 50. They had increased 9 million. And when we asked them, why are you increasing? They told us that they want to motivate the CHPs. I don't know whether the chairman health is here. And I think it was, we had a very right moment when the vice chair asked whether they want to play guitar or how do they want to motivate the CHPs. And they are not even paying. Our CHP has not been paid. They are receiving money from the national, but from our side of the county, they are not paying. Yes, they wanted to put some more 9 million here so that they can consume that money. And in the Honorable Speaker, so we retained the CHPs at 41.2 million, just as the same amount that is being provided by the national government. Then we have the contracted road works. And this is where the members should know that the committee budget is working. They had reduced from 306 to 243. We have retained to 306. Members should get their right out of the irreducible minimum. The other thing is that the grading graveling using county machinery, which had 108. Honorable Speaker, we have struggled with my chairman, and we continue struggling, but we have increased it to 168 so far. So members will get more than 6 million, and we are still working towards this because we want members to get 8 million per ward. There is an allocation of 15 million to be provided for machinery. We allowed the governor. You know, the other day, there was a former CEC called the Honorable Wangenye, who said that this regime had not even bought a guruguru, in quotes. A guruguru is a wheelbarrow made of wood. So we don't want this perception to go out there that this regime is not working on the machinery. We have provided 58 to buy 2 trucks, to buy a backhoe, to buy a grader. And I know this will enhance the machinery program. The other thing is that there is construction of ECD classes. We have retained 19.2 million for the reducible minimum for the members. We have also allocated 25 million. That is 1 million each per ward for equipping the ECDs. Then there is also the capitation. Honorable Speaker, we have provided 12.5 million for capitation of ECDs. And I would request Honorable Member, Chairman for Education, Honorable Gathungu, I understandably the 10 million we provided in the last financial year did not see the light of the day. Our ECD did not receive capitation. We have provided 12.5%, but we need a serious oversight. We don't have a framework, a policy framework on how we are going to give this capitation. And I think the Vice Chair is here, the Chairman, they should push the department to bring a policy in this house on how this capitation will be utilized. Then we have provided 10 million for Jororok training, in quotes, the Nyandarua University. Then we have provided more money for writing, that is for electricity bill. We have enhanced by 15, from 25 to 40 million. And Honorable Speaker, there is something I want to note here. We have realized that there is a lot of wastage when it comes to the electricity bills. If you go around the Nyandarua County during the day, you get so many floodlights, flood masts that are on during the day. They are malfunctioning, nobody is taking care of them, bills are enhancing and accumulating, and we have told the department, by the time of itemizing these 40 million, they will be itemized per ward. We have requested them to give us the number of masts per ward and the consumption, so that even the members of this county assembly can take responsibility. When you see a mast that is on during the day, it's consuming your money, and when it is exhausted before the financial year, you remain in darkness. We have to take responsibility, and the county money or the public money have to be used. You know what the members are going to do? They are going to report and make sure they camp at the Department of Energy and make sure that these malfunctioning floodlights are repaired. Otherwise, if we go in this thread, we will be paying 100 million to KPLC. And we have also stated going forward, we are going to do solar. And we have advice for technical advice for the members. Whenever they are giving budgets for floodlights, they should request from the technical people in the energy department to be allocating enough money to do solar. We will not do more electrical floodlights. Otherwise, this will become a burden in the future, and we don't need to do that, Honorable Speaker. The other thing, Honorable Speaker, we have also allocated 20 million. And I want to thank members of the County Assembly. There was no money for CDC. The County Disease Control Center, I don't know whether it is county or communicable disease control center at Mirangini. The second regime left this facility at 90% of completion. Yet we have never completed it. We are just going round and round doing some other things, and yet we have a project that we just need to provide 20 million and it becomes operational. And it is one of the best, I understand, in East Africa. So we have said this time round, can we complete at least one project? And we have provided 20 million for the CDC. Then we have 10 million to be provided for issuance of titling. We have around, even if it is a new entry, we have some colonial villages and some where we want to do some titles, so we have provided that 10 million. Honorable Speaker, in compliance with the regulations that have been given, we invited the CCM Economic Planning yesterday, that is Tuesday, 12th March at 4:30 in the Assembly, to seek her views on the committee's recommendation in respect to the CFSP, where he was represented by the Chief Officer and the Director. The committee confirms that the reviews were considering in the setting the ceiling, so we were able to tell the department as required by the PFMA Act what we have done and what we have been able to allocate. Honorable Speaker, we have given a detailed report on how much we have been able to provide per department. It is there in page 18 all the way to page 21. We have also been able to give a list of flagship projects that is there in page 22 and 23. We have also been able to project what we call the medium-term expenditure projection. It is there in page 24 all the way to page 27. Then, Honorable Speaker, on page 28, I want to touch something on what we call the adherence to fiscal responsibility principles, because if we pass a CFSP that has not met the responsibilities, it will be out of legal requirement. Honorable Speaker, number one, we have what we call the county debt. The law requires that the county debt should not exceed 20% of the county government total revenue at any time. We were able to look and plan, and we can tell that the county of Nyandarua has not borrowed externally. However, the county has to ensure that there is an obligation of paying the pending bill, and an allocation of 198 million has been set aside to cater the pending bill, which is around 2.43% of the county resources. Then when you look at the county expenditure on wage and benefits, should not go beyond 35%. But Honorable Speaker, we are still struggling because our remuneration has gone beyond 35% to around 37.33%. So we are never able to meet that requirement. And I don't know what we are going to do, because according to our HR manual, we have never had a very good HR policy. We keep employing people and adding people without even auditing whatever we have and even know whether we can do some redeployment. Sometimes I always speak in this house. I don't understand why you should have 16 chief officers. And I understand they are coming, the others who are coming. If you look at the office of the governor, because me, I'm a truthful man, you realize that there are more than 5 directors. SDU, I don't know, diaspora, governor's press. I understand there is another one that is coming in called emergency, director for emergency, public participation. I really don't understand what kind of job these people does. So these things will keep increasing our wage bill. That is why we are at 37.3%. The county is not compliant with the set standard of 35%. Therefore, the County Public Service Board should establish optimal staff structure to ensure that expenditure on personal emolument complies with Regulation 25(1)B of the Public Finance Management of the county government. Number 3, the approved expenditure as a county assembly shall not exceed 7%. Honorable Speaker, on this we are at 11%. And I had an issue together with the members of the budget committee the other day with the COB office. And I think this is one of the requirements that should be scrapped within the PFMA Act. Because they say that any assembly should not go beyond 7%. But remember, our ceilings are set by CRI. So the assemblies that are allowed to go beyond 7%, including Nyandarua, which goes at 11%. And I think this is an issue that we have raised with the COB, because whenever they report in the budget implementation report, either quarterly or the full year, one of the points they keep coming back is that the Assembly of Nyandarua have utilized more than 7% as provided by the PFMA Act. But this has changed. The ceilings are being set by CRI. There's a gap within the PFMA Act at level of the Speaker's Council. Take this matter and still within the CAF. Take it to the other side, because it will keep misinforming the members of the public to think that this assembly is consuming more than it deserves. Honorable Speaker, the county government actual expenditure on development shall be at least 30%. I can attest we are, once again, we are just on the right. The development is 30.51%. Physical risk, we have been able to look at that. We have provided 40 million, which have been set aside for emergencies or any unforeseen expenditure. Then when you look at the reasonable degree of practicability, we are practical. When you look at OSR, we are talking of 600 million. We collected 513. Everything that we have been able to do, it is very practical. Honorable Speaker, finally, I want to make the recommendation of the committee. Number 1, that in accordance with Regulation 26, subsection 4 of the PFMA Regulation 2015, county government, the ceiling set in the approved CFSP financial year 2025-2026 forms the basis for preparation of the annual budget estimate for the financial year 2025-2026. That the county economic planning in the medium term be aligned to the revenues and expenditure ceiling are set in the approved CFSP financial year 2025-2026. That the word project allocation matrix annex, this is one that we were provided by the members during the ADP, contained in the CFSP financial 25-2026 be approved from the basis for prioritization and allocation for word project in the annual budget estimate financial year 25-26. That the county treasury does ensure that the pending bids are itemized in the budget estimate in the financial 25-26 according to the departments that incurred them and be treated as a first charge pursuant to the Regulation 41(2) of the County Government PFMA Regulation 2025. That the county does address its own source revenue performance to ensure that the approved budget is fully financed. And finally, that in the midterm and in the pursuant to Section 107C of the PFMA, the county does comply with the fiscal responsibility principle on expenditure on wages and benefit for its public officer by observing 35% limit. In conclusion, Honorable Speaker, the policy document plays a crucial role in shaping the financial trajectory of the county government, ensuring responsible fiscal management, promoting transparency, and aligning resources with the needs of the residents. Honorable Speaker, the CFSP should reaffirm the county's commitment to prudent financial management, equitable resources distribution, and strategic investment in key sectors. By aligning fiscal policies with the development objective, the county should aim to enhance economic resilience, improve livelihood, and promote inclusive growth. The CFSP represents a collective vision, a plan that guides our fiscal decisions toward sustainable development and improved quality of life for our residents. Honorable Speaker, I therefore beseech this House to adopt the report of the Budget and Appropriation Committee of the Nyandarua County Fiscal Strategy Paper 2025-2026 as a report of this financial year and a recommendation therein as a resolution of this House. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to invite my Vice Chair, Honorable Gitau, to second. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Honorable Gitau, you can proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, we only had a few issues on top of what the Honorable Chair mentioned, and I would wish to start by thanking the team that we left this house yesterday at around 9 p.m. Honorable Speaker, and in that team we had the Secretariat led by our director, that is Bernard, and also our clerk, that is Wairago, and also our A student, Bana Mwago, and also we have a lady called Mary. Honorable Speaker, I wish to thank your office, because were it not for your office, maybe this secretariat would not be properly facilitated. Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this team has been doing a very good job, and like it was said this morning, if you check at the issue of supplementary budgets and what was pronounced in this House, that if it is possible that you work on it, so that by close of business Tuesday next week we finish. It is very easy to say that, but when it comes to the practicability and also the work that is needed, most of the work goes to the Secretariat, Honorable Speaker. So it is also good that we consider this team in terms of time and also remuneration, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I only have one issue, the issue of machinery. Honorable Speaker, those of us who come from wards that has never benefited from the flagship program, Honorable Speaker. If you look at my ward, for example, that is Shamata, and some of the other wards that are in this House, Honorable Speaker, members are here, they will confirm. We have wards that have never benefited from any flagship program, Honorable Speaker. And flagship does not mean just because it is in your ward, I have no light over that money, Honorable Speaker. And the way this county is being run, Honorable Speaker, some of our wards, we shall finish the term without anything that is extra other than what we get as a reducible minimum, Honorable Speaker. And when we talk of 8 million per ward for the machinery, that is the 200 million. What we mean is that those of us who don't have any flagship, this is our flagship, Honorable Speaker. And this is the only program that we feel that benefits our people directly, Honorable Speaker. And it was very unfortunate that the executive had even decided to reduce the 6 million that we had allocated in the ADP to reduce to 4 million, Honorable Speaker. Our proposal was that we move to 8 million. Even if at this level we are not managed to get the 8 million, I am still calling for the elected members. We still need to sit further and check on the issue, maybe together with the governor and the team, so that by the end of the day, because from where I sit, we're in the third year of our term, and if we don't get it right at this level, especially this budget, Honorable Speaker, most likely between now and June, we are likely to get the wrong range, Honorable Speaker. If we don't fix our roads, the election is next year but one, and the campaign will start next year. So it is a wake-up call for the elected members that even at the itemized budget level, that is likely to come maybe in the next 1 month, we work together and at least increase this money to 200 million. That is 8 million per ward. Honorable Speaker, the report that came from COB indicated that this county has the capacity to collect 3 million as own source, that is 3 billion as own source revenue. As we speak, if you look at the figures that were read by Honorable Chair, it's only 600 million. That is even less than 30% of the target. We have had very many issues to do with the debate about the own source revenue. The executive have promised that they are going to increase the what they are doing so that they can increase their own source revenue. Nothing is coming. If you look at 600 and a target of 3 billion, Honorable Speaker, this is a joke. We have allocated money for digitization of this program. Nothing is happening. So as we speak, I would wish to challenge the chairman in charge of finance and also the finance chief officer that we approved the other day, Honorable Speaker, that was yesterday, to work together and at least make sure that by the end of the day, we increase these also revenue so that we can also get more for the county. As I finish, Honorable Speaker, I have an issue with COB, Honorable Speaker. If you look at the way they are executing their mandate, you remember last month, there was an issue of bursary, Honorable Speaker. And by that time, they would read the law as it is. So today they are telling us county government to not be getting bursary. They have no right to execute that function of bursary allocation to the young people or the runners. And the same COB is telling us we are not going to receive any requisition that has no pending bill. But at the end of the year, that is the end of financial year, Honorable Speaker, you realize 99% of recurrent has been absorbed. None of very low percent of the pending bills have been absorbed. And the same COB is the one that have been used to clear the requisitions without pending bill. So I'd request even as we move on, COB should stick to the law. If they feel that we must have pending bills paid, that must be done. If there is a requisition that has no pending bill, the executive should not be cleared from their requisition should not be cleared. So, Honorable Speaker, there was the issue of SHA and SHE and also NHIF. It is true. They confirmed that NHIF had a very good program whereby they had an enhanced, program for the staffs. But for the SHE and SHA, which this morning I saw the young people are saying it was not even SHE and SHA, it was SHA plus maybe what happened yesterday about chapati. They said that this is chapati, not SHA. Honorable Speaker, when it comes to the issue of SHA, they don't have that enhanced program for the staff. So that means that we had no option other than to pay for the 1,810 staffs, because I understand those who are in contract and some low grades staffs are not being catered for. That is depending on the SRC. The issue of ECD, if the executive had allocated the two ECD per ward from another source, not from the members, irreducible minimum, there would be no problem, Honorable Speaker. But as we speak, they had reallocated what we have for the county government, for the county assembly, that is members, as part of the ECD, and that is why we declined, Honorable Speaker. Maybe the last one is the issue of university. Honorable Speaker, you acknowledge that our governor, that is our chief, our governor, Honorable Patricia, has been very passionate about the, actualization of the Nyandarua University. And this is part of, this is an opening that you have. You already have engaged the Nairobi University, and the team has been there. Part of our members have had a meeting with the team, and what is requesting is money that he can maybe as the KUSIP allocates, give the students to the university that he has started. Maybe by the end of the day, before the KUSIP settles and all that, he can still have some funds so that he can facilitate the young learners. Honorable Speaker, the last one is on the assembly. There was an intention to allocate 35 million for ward offices, Honorable Speaker. I still don't understand why this money was scrapped, Honorable Speaker, because we had started with you, and you had said that maybe because Shamata has never had a flagship program, maybe for the one that you had said one per sub county. I remember you had said you would start with Shamata. I don't know what will happen now that they have scrapped the 5 million. So at the itemized budget, we still need to sit down and check on that. Honorable Speaker, I support. Thank you very much. And I second.
Thank you. I now propose a question, which is that this House does adopt the report of the Committee on Budget and Appropriations on the Nyandarua County Fiscal Strategy Paper, CFSP, for financial year 2025-2026, and the Medium-Term Debt Management Strategy Paper 2025 as a report of the House, and the recommendations therein as the resolutions of the House. Yes, Honorable Mohindi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I, from the onset, rise to support and thank the committee for a job well done. And at the onset, clearly indicate my anger with my majority leader at the National Assembly. We come from the same party. But he is one of the key problems with devolution. Because some of the money that we should be planning here, he's saying over his dead body, he's forgetting that there was also another governor who told somebody else, this money is not for that other person. The members can remember. So we should be planning for fuel levy. He thinks because he comes from a constituency that is urban, where he has a lot of tarmac, it is the way the whole country is. And the money that we should have been using to increase the money that is going to our roads, Mr. Speaker, is now tied up at the National Assembly. Now we have money that has been taken away from the assemblies for development. So, Mr. Speaker, even as we discuss the CFSP, we should also call out the National Assembly that it stop being an impediment to devolution. It should be an enabler. And we should ask our Senator also to, as he does politics, should also remember that he also has a role to play in fighting for the resources of this county and come back and fight for that money. Mr. Speaker, number 2, the chair has said the OSR is 600 million, and he's saying we are good. But when I do my maths, Mr. Speaker, it's on page 14, I see like he's playing us a little bit. The local receipts for financial year 2023-2024, the actual revenues were 310 million. That is for own source revenue. And then FIF, which we used to call AIA, was 205 million. So in total, we collected 515 million total. That is OSR plus FIF. When you come to the revenue projections for this year, you are putting own source revenue at 600 and FIF at 300. So the resource projection for OSR is 900 million. We are going back into the same hole that we are trying to dig ourselves from right now. Mr. Speaker, as we speak, we collected 515. So we are looking at, if we increase this 100 million, because the county government has not done anything to change the way we should be collecting our revenue. There has been no improvement. There has been no automation. People are going on strike every day. So they have not done anything that can improve on revenue. So there is no way we are going to hit 900 million. We won't get there. So, Mr. Speaker, I will leave it to the chair of budget to tell us how this miracle is going to happen. Finally, Mr. Speaker, the Committee on Budget tells us on page 7 that the receipts, I think it's on page 7, during the period under review, revenue performance for July to December 2024, we received equitable share. Total receivables were 3,178,630. Of that, equitable share was 2.936 billion. 130 million county own source revenue. Then 111 as conditional grants. Then there you add another paragraph. You say, however, conditional grants were not received within the period. We go to page 8. You come to the monies that were received. You say, and it's the committee, however, upon scrutiny of the report from the controller of the budget for the first half of the financial year 2024, the committee observed that the actual receipts from COB were 243, CFSP is saying 293, a deviation of 400%, 400 million. The COB reported balance of 626, which the county received. The county CFSP did not mention. So that money cancels the 400 million that they are saying they had received. They are up. Then point 3, that is page 8.3 there. The COB reported that the actual revenues received by the county in the first half of financial year 2024-25 was 3,322,000,000, while CFSP reports 3,178,000,000. The two deviate by 143 million. If you look at that, Mr. Speaker, you will see that the money that the county is saying it did not receive of 111 million was received. And in fact, it was received, and there is more money that they are not telling us where they got of around 38 million, which probably could be from FIF, but they are understating. Because today, we now have a supplementary budget. So I would ask the chairman of budget and the committee, now go and look at that supplementary correctly to see the exact amount of money that has already been used. Because if you were going to appropriate this 138 million, it is money that is already gone. With those many words, I support.
Thank you, Honorable Muhindi. Can have Honorable Matimo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for granting me this opportunity. Mine goes to the entire committee. I would want from the onset to really thank the committee for going out of their way. Mr. Speaker, during their yesterday's sitting, I just decided to be part of the committee by extension. And I can concur that they left this place at 9, having worked tirelessly together with the entire committee. So, Chair, together with your membership, kudos and continue doing the good work for the people of our beautiful county, Nyandarua. Mr. Speaker, as from the document that has been moved today by the Chair, I believe that the next stage will be itemization, which will be informed from whatever we've received today. I would wish to request the chairperson and together with the entire committee that during itemization, let's work with factuals and amounts that we can be able to even be able to really stand in for. The executive have requested for 10 million shillings for pension. I would wish, Chair, that the executive do provide you with the actual amount of the actual number of staff that they've employed that is consuming the 10 million that they are requesting for pension. The other one, Chair, I would wish from the health department or from the executive, let them tell us, because they are saying that Chief and Shah has not submitted any monies from the national government. Let them tell us the actuals. So that by the time you're doing the budget, and according to what we've received, Chair, we still have monies that you've not really gotten, especially maybe for the machinery program. So let the national government, no, let the executive give us the actual amount that they've not received from Shah and Chief.
The other one, Chair, and I would wish Honorable DS allows you to get these points, because I don't know whether you'll be able to, the Chair will be able to. Chair, oh, thank you. The CHPs, it's in the public domain that we did an allocation during this financial year. And if you meet these brothers of ours from our county, they will tell you that they've been receiving money from the national government. Whereas the money that we allocated from the county, they've not gotten to their pockets. And I'm glad that the Chair held this seated together with me this afternoon. We would wish, Chair, before you do a final submission, get to know where did the money for this particular financial year disappear to, so that by the time we shall be allocating the 41, I think, 0.5 million, we shall be able to follow this money to the letter, because that's our oversight role. The other one, Chair, is money that has been set aside for purchase of county machineries. Chair, we've been in this county, and I would wish, Chair, that there are some members who are consulting on high tone that they are really interacting with my flow. The 58 million that has been set aside, I would request that before we really finalize that we are buying these machines, Chair, we've had programs in our county that we just do them because we've gotten to a point that somebody somewhere has just complained, somebody somewhere has mentioned that this program is working elsewhere, and we rush to do such programs. We've had a Paidiraidram program that was allocated some money. To date, I don't hear anyone talking of Paidiraidram, whereas it was budgeted for, farmers were given seedlings. But if you go to the region of Nyandarua, I have not had any honorable member talk of the benefits that we've gotten from Paidiraidram. The other day, we were all over giving apple seeds. I quote, Kafagoho. To date, or today, I don't hear anyone talk of apple in any farm. Here, we are rushing because someone talked of this regime not having bought any machinery. Why are we doing things as a county out of the pressure or out of hearsay from other people? I would humbly request.
For point of information, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I would wish to inform the member that the county is not buying the machines because somebody else or a politician said it. It is buying because the already existing machineries are wearing out. It's not now the 6th year. We need to replace some. Some of the engines are not working. So we cannot just sit back and watch. So that is why the county government have decided to increase the machines. So, Honorable Matimo, unless there is a political issue, I think that information should guide you.
Thank you. Chair, I'm well guided by my brother, Honorable Gitao. But my point that I wanted, especially the executive and even the committee, to get it clearly. I don't have any problem with the purchase of machinery. But let's not do these programs out of some pressure from some external forces. And I've just mentioned two. The programs that we did, I don't know where these issues originated from. So I think going forward, we should prioritize our programs. I agree that the machinery needs to be bought. I don't doubt that. But let's not do things because of external pressures. The other one, Chair, as you will be sitting during the itemization, is capitation on ECD. This morning, we had the CCM together with his team on matters capitation for our ECD program. The allocation for the previous financial year, the committee cannot account for the 10 million that was allocated to them. For this particular financial year that we are in, they opened a special purpose account, and that money has not been transferred to that special account to date. Here we are going to allocate another 12.5 million to the same department, and for the two previous allocations, not even a single cent has gone to our ECD, has not been allocated to our ECD's chair. So I would humbly request, before you do itemization, and I think that's something that we've really requested the executive this morning, to ensure that they provide with to us how far they've gone to ensure that these monies are spent. The other one is money that has been set aside, some 10 million for some task force at Olchorok ATC. I would humbly request, Chair, let's know, is this money meant for allowances? Is this money meant to cater for a specific thing? Let's not just leave a broad figure that has not been itemized by even the department, because even reading from the report that you've just tabled, it is like an allocation to a task force. So is this money that is going to pay allowances? What is this money meant for? Let's get the actuals maybe during itemization, Chair. Then the other one is 10 million that has been set aside for titling. We'd wish to know which pieces of land, which parcels of land will, or what is the purpose of this money, Chair? Is it meant for fuel to go and know which pieces of land will be titled, or is it for ensuring that these pieces of lands are really titled? We'd wish to know, maybe during itemization, what this money is really meant for. And with that, I really support the initiatives and whatever has been tabled. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I take this chance to thank the committee. As the chair had indicated that they burnt the midnight oil. It is commendable of them. And of course, all through ensuring that we assist Governor Badilisha to achieve his change manifesto. We have been observing timeline all through, and it is the committee that majorly contribute to us observing time. Mr. Speaker, I have some observation, and as well I want to positively critique some of these items. And Mr. Speaker, when you move to page about where we are getting these monies, that is page 3 on your gadget. When you look at FIF, we will be getting like 200 million, but we expect to get 300. This is purely hospitals. These are hospitals. Mr. Speaker, when you they are justifying that the facility improvement financing target has been revised upward from 200 million to 300 million. This is as a result of improvement noted in the first half of the current financial year, where hospitals have collected over 150 million. When you now go to health, you can now see injustices that have been meted to health. The allocation, that is Roman 5 on page 5. The allocation to upgrade sub-county hospitals, Gano, Daragwa, Manunga, and Babu, is 10 million each, which now has been decreased to 5 million each. Up to that point, Mr. Speaker, who are generating monies? It is the hospitals. Now you are telling us you want to collect money from patient, but you don't want to improve those facilities. When you allocate Manunga that we want it to be level 4, so that we can increase the FIF. Now you want to stagnate it. Well, we know very well, in the last regime, they were able to award that particular facility. By then it was a health center. They were able to award a tune-up to 30 million. Now with the change manifesto, you want now to change. You want to collect money from the patient there, but you deny them a room to improve that facility. What am I saying, Mr. Speaker? Community health promoters stipend were enhanced from 41.2 million to 50.14 million, an increase by 8.94 million. From where we sit, Mr. Speaker, these 41.2 million that we are enhanced, they have not even reached to the beneficiary, the community health promoters. And we are here now saying that we are enhancing from the money that they have not been able to receive. Mr. Speaker, the last argument, the strategic stocks, which we allocated 70 million in the ADB, had their allocation enhanced to 140 million. When you go through this report, they have left it at 130 million. Let me tell this house that it will pass, but the Wanjiko of Nyandarua will not in any way.
Point of information.
Yes, Advocate.
Honorable Speaker, I'm sorry to interrupt the flow of thought or the chair health, but I just wanted to let him know that the enhancement has been denied by the budget committee, so there will be no enhancement because of the argument you have put forward.
Proceed, Advocate.
Chair, I need the clarification from you because I have seen an attempt of interrupting me. That information, was it for the House, to me, or what I should behave, because I have been remaining studying, because all of a sudden I have heard that Honorable was I need to be guided so that I know whether I should act on that information or what I should do.
Just proceed. If they proceed with your presentation. If the said member has something she need to clarify, she put it in form of information. She did not raise any question. That's why I just give you a leeway to proceed.
Okay, so information, the procedure for information from my standing order tells me it should go to somewhere. So as you have indicated, because you are using discretion number 1, then it was a commercial break. Mr. Speaker, from what I was saying is that this counter fiscal strategy paper, whether it will be passed, let the people of Nyandarua know that the strategic stocks, there will be no drugs in hospital in Nyandarua. There will be no money to have this, and it should go into hazard. When I'm saying the next big disaster is the hospital in this county of Nyandarua. The reason as to why we want to fund other activities using the money from patients, but we are not ready to give back to the hospitals. It will be shame. There was an issue of bursary, and it was given a tune of 194 million. And this one, the national government has just stated clearly, you county government, you should look into your function. That was the flagship for His Excellency the Governor of Nyandarua. The next flagship should be hospital. Strategic stock. I pray thee that it is happening when we are going to electioneering period. There will be no even Piriton in our hospitals. Because today we have decided as a house that is how it should be. So we should not cry out there saying our facility have got no drugs, because this is the time to put more money for strategic stock. So, Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, I'm interested with the remuneration of this county. This house, even after Auditor General tells us that we have issues with the remuneration money set aside. That is page. The remuneration was, let me get the actual page, but there was 2-point-something billion that is allocated to, has been allocated to remuneration of this county. The Auditor General raises in the Auditor General Report 2023-2024, she has raised very pertinent issues pertaining to that particular item. And she has expressed her dissatisfaction that this is not much that should be going to salaries and remuneration in this county. And for us, as an assembly, we are here now sanitizing, even without fact, because I might require some annexure to justify that this Auditor General never saw anything. We are here to justify this. Over 239 million extra, they cannot be accounted for. And now we want now to say, let it remain. Okay, I am not defeated because it is Change Manifesto government. So, if Change Manifesto is to change the thinking and the way of doing things, I pray that 239 could have been allocated to the hospitals instead of fighting who should be earning this money. So, Mr. Speaker, this should not be a custom or a tradition to pass without interrogating this document. And one day, Mr. Speaker, one day, the history will judge some of us. When we were there, what did we focus on? What did we look into? Health issues is very serious. You have seen, even in this report, the insurance for the member of staff it has been enhanced, if not to be increased, it has been enhanced. It has been enhanced even beyond the strategic stock, yes, and they are going to visit those hospitals. And that leaves a very rhetoric question, and we may find answers here, but I know what will happen. This assembly, after this contribution, we will be served with the memoranda telling us, you know, we erred. Let's correct. And that is why the Auditor General will keep coming for us, asking us, what should we do now here? Because it will be as if a natural calamity has happened when you don't find a piriton, when you don't find a bandage in your nearest dispensary. It is well stated, it is well said. As a chair, I have registered my concern pertaining to those issues. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Kamwana, then we come to DS.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker, for granting me this chance to say a few things about this process. Let me, Honorable Speaker, from the onset, take some time to congratulate or to thank the committee, and especially when we hear. I myself, I did not know that we had ratified honorable members together with the Secretariat to do this work, and especially on our behalf as an assembly and at large for the county of Nyandarua. So I take this chance or opportunity to thank them. I know very well, because I'm also have some knowledge with matters to do with the finance, that it is not easy. I quickly, Honorable Speaker, want to say that this is about a budgetary process, and we are in the second phase, where now we are looking at the physical paper. And I want to remind this House that we had the other document of the ADP, whereby a lot of emphasis comes from the economic planning, that we have a support of the economic planning in all the departments. And it does not augur well to see that every year we do not do a lot of improvements in preparation of these documents. When we come and find a lot of issues, a lot of problems, when now we bring this document to the department, sorry, not to the Committee of Budget and Appropriation for this assembly, we see that the other side, that is the executive, has a lot of work to do, and they do not do that work. Honorable Speaker, I want to tell this House that when now we come to look at the finance at this physical paper, it is sad when it does not match with the fields of economic planning. What do I want to say? That now what has just been alluded by a chair from the chair health committee, that we can be able to see that a lot of money is coming from the health department, whereby, and especially now, Honorable Speaker, from only two institutions, because we know that there before we were not collecting money from the health centers and the dispensaries. We have already been collecting money from two facilities, that is the JM and the Engineer Hospital. And we can see that the two facilities are able to support their own source of revenue by even more than half of what we get from the other receipts of our own source of revenue. But when we come to planning, we are not able to, as much as possible, to give back to the institutions that are able to deliver this money. Though we know very well that those facilities has a big fraction of the recurrent expenditure than the development, but we can be able not to see from this document that they are able to look into such a matter. There before, if this House can be able to remember that I'm one member who is insisting that if we can be able to have a fund, if the departments or from the economic departments, they are not able to even improve on what we call the quality management in finance, that they are able to see how the country looks like. They can be able to see where we have the imbalances, as it was alluded by one Honorable Jamba, that is the member for Shamata, that so far they cannot be able to account, or they cannot be able to sing or appraise any flagship kind of a project that has been able to go to the award. I believe that if these people could have seen these gaps, and as they bring this document, we could be seeing that some marginalized words are being able to be factored, we could be able to appreciate. I've been emphasizing, Honorable Speaker, that if we can be having a fund like equalization fund in this document, we could be able to caution some of these disparities that we have been fighting across. It is not a wonder that we'll be able, when we critically look at this document, we are going to see that still it will be in favor of some other words that have been able to year in and out to accrue us more money than the other words, which is not very good. As long as we have members who are representing these words in this assembly, but Honorable Speaker, as we have been seeing in the National Assembly, that a few members can be able to be seen that they have woken from slumber to realize that some other areas have been getting more money than other areas. And now they are able to fight one honorable member from Kiharu that he has been getting a lot of allocations to go to his ward. Sorry, to his constituency, if I may be able to quote what has been happening in the National Assembly, Honorable Speaker, quickly. So I urge the committee led by one able chair, Honorable Kongu, to at least try as much as possible, and especially when now I'm in this assembly, to see whether you can be able at least to bring some formula that can be able to cushion these gaps. And now and then I have been able to mention the ward, that is Magumu ward, and Gadara ward, who has been bringing a lot of money to this government in terms of how we collect our own social revenue. But when now we come to dividing this cake, we divide it equally, and as much as possible as we fight for what we are calling the flagship, it is at the decision of people. We don't know those people who now and then are able to take money to the same area. And especially with a lot of respect, a lot of money has been coming to the wards that share the Olkarau municipality, so the headquarters, and we can be able to change so that we can be able to have equality. Honorable Speaker, quickly let me mention something about the municipalities, because it is very sad, as it has been said by Honorable Kongo, because I can be able to see from the annexure we have here, we have the total monies that will be going to the municipalities, but he was able to clearly say that it's only 10%, sorry, it's only 10 million that will be going to the new municipalities, that is of Engineer and Mairunya, to go and do developments. Honorable Speaker, it is very sad that from the last financial year, these new municipalities were only able to be allocated 6 million for development. Can you imagine? The people from where these municipalities are not able to see anything happening on the ground. If it is anything to go by an Honorable Mwangi Lishoke is here, in a very well-attended meeting, a public baraza, members of the community could ask, for the last 2 years, you have been seeing of this baby municipality, but we cannot see anything that is being done. It's only 1.5 million Honorable Congo that has come to engineer municipality in terms of development. It is not very good, and we are saying we are in the third year. I don't know whether this government is expecting money maybe from what you are calling the grants, from the World Bank for that purpose. In many cases, if we miss that money, and I don't think when you have factored that money where you have seen that for the conditional grants we are going to get at least 1078, an increase of 114 million. In any case, we don't get that money, we will not be able even to sustain the recurrent expenditure, that is the office or the administration money for those municipalities. So it will not be very good, because we'll be having such a new institution in in kind of a municipality, but it will not be able to be seen to bring any development. So the members or the community who live in these municipalities are expecting us to do the developments from what we call the irreducible, minimum, and we know very well that it is not a lot of money because we divide it to land across the wards, and the wards are very big. As I finish, Honorable Speaker, I was able to note, if it is not to detect that there could be a problem with what we call the human resource department of this county. The chair was able to say clearly here that he has been expecting that we could be having some other employees who would come and say they are not able to be compensated or to be remunerated enough, but this has never happened. We in the Committee of Special Funds were able to note that there is an account known as employee compensation, and that this government has borrowed 90 million from such an account, and they have credited that money to the pensions of this county. You wonder 90 million, although it is in an annual, is in a whole year where they can be able to get this money. So I guess there could be a loophole in the issues to do with the IPPD, as it was mentioned by the chair, and it is the high time we need to see the number of employees and how they are remunerated. And I was happy to hear that Chair for Budget and Appropriation Committee said that this is the last time that you'll be able to accept any maths that will come without the whole report or the whole list of who is paid this amount in this county. I want to conquer, or I want to say that this document moving forward, if it can maybe have a few improvements, it will be better for this county. Although we know now we are going to itemization, where we may not be able to change as much now that we are putting the ceilings. Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Commander. We proceed with the Honorable DS.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. From the onset, I support the work being done by the Budget and Appropriations Committee and the great work they have done. Great insight they have given us on the document. My concern, Honorable Speaker, is what informs the CFSP. Mr. Speaker, from the finding and observations of the committee is that the county fiscal strategy paper is prepared based on approved annual development plan, highlighting the policy priorities. Again, these priorities are anchored in the county integrated plan, 2023-2027. Honorable Speaker, I want to bring to the attention of the House that CIDP and ADP are subjected to public participation, while CFSP is prepared by the executive. Honorable Speaker, the participation of the public informs the priority and the will of the people on the expenditure of the revenue they have. I want to draw the attention of the House to the findings of the Budget Committee, whereby the economic planning, or those who prepared the CFSP found in their wisdom to remove or to downgrade I want to draw to the health services, where the allocation to upgrade sub-county hospitals Gano, Daragwa, Manunga, and Babu of Kenya, shillings 10 million each, was decreased to 5 million each. Upgrading Munyeki dispensary with an allocation of 10 million was introduced. Honorable Speaker, the 10 million per hospital, sub-county hospital, was allocated, informed by the public participation. Honorable Speaker, health is paramount to any people. And when people don't fight, why the 10 million was allocated to these sub-county hospitals is because the facilities needed to be improved so that people can get the health services from these hospitals and improve the money raised through the hospitals, the revenues raised by the hospitals. Honorable Speaker, when people from Magumu who would have attended or gone to Babu Hospital don't get the facilities they need, they go to Kijabi Hospital. Those in Manunga, when they don't find the services, they go to Naivasha. And those who are in Orkarao and other areas around this place, they don't find good services in Nyandarua, they go to Nakuru. And those who are around Jororok, they go to Nyahururu. Honorable Speaker, at the end of the day, the money which we should have contributed to these hospitals, even improving our own source revenue by way of funds contributed through the hospitals, will go to Nakuru County, Kiambu County in Kijambe, Laikipia County in Nyahururu, and therefore we remain with the facilities that cannot attend to our people, and we keep on complaining that we don't have enough resources. Again, Mr. Speaker, I want to draw attention to the money allocated through annual development plan to rehabilitate the rehabilitation and distillation of dams and irrigation infrastructure allocated 12 million and 18 million respectively in the ADP was scrapped in the CFSP. They were scrapped, Honorable Speaker. Instead, they want to engage the street sweepers by allocating 3 million shillings. Honorable Speaker, the foundation of any development to any people is based on good health and food security. Food security contributes a lot in preventive health. And Honorable Speaker, when you get to Nyandarua through flyover and through Loriodo, you get a billboard there indicating that Nyandarua, we feed the nation. When you come further inside, you find Mama County distributing rice to people, food donations to people who are supposed to feed the nation. They are being fed by food donations. It's a contradiction, it's irony. And the desire of the people of Nyandarua through annual development plan was to have a vibrant irrigation scheme, a vibrant irrigation program that would ensure that people in Nyandarua are able to cultivate their own food for their own consumption and selling to get income. And instead, these people would be fed during the dry season. Mr. Speaker, Nyandarua has the potential to irrigate. And it is only the failure of the planners to allocate enough money for irrigation. What informs the ceilings, Mr. Speaker? You wonder. I would challenge the Economic Planning Department, together with the policymakers at the cabinet level, to consider what they told the people when they were campaigning. Just like the national government who involved us in the economic forums, we will hold them to account, and we shall be held to account by the people. Honorable Speaker, when we put 3 million shillings to the street sweepers, if you just divide that with the 25 wards, it is 120,000 shillings per ward. If you divide further by 300 shillings labor wage per person, those are 400 people in the ward one day. If you break that down further to 30 days, it is 13 adults in every ward conducting this activity, and the money will be gone in 1 month with 13 individuals benefiting in every ward. What impact is that making against an 18 million shillings irrigation program and 12 million dam distillation that would ensure availability of water for farming? Honorable Speaker, I think we need to wake up and plan by objective. Honorable Speaker, it is very evident that the county is managing by crisis. And when you plan by crisis, Honorable Speaker, it is miss or hit fashion. And that puts the county in a position that you are completely sure you don't need a prophet, that you are headed to a deadlock, or you are headed to a kind of an accident where you find that nothing was achieved at the end of the day in reference to what the people contributed at the annual development plan and county integrated development plan, which informed what they want be done, what are their priorities in the 5 years we are in office and the executive is in the office. I would challenge in conclusion, Mr. Speaker, I would want to challenge the executive to consider the contribution of the public in the participation and not to try to annul or trivialize or overthrow the will of people in the contribution in their public participation just because they have the prerogative of preparing the CFSP in the absence of the public. Let them consider the priorities. Let us know that we have the potential to raise more money, even with our well-equipped health facilities, and we are well able to feed this county and put money in the pockets of the people if we consider irrigating our county. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Diaz. We have Honorable Minority.
Then thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaker, I want to commend the committee for work well done, and not just this report. The execution of the report is normally in depth, so I want to note that. Before I make my remark, I only got interested with the remark of sweepers. Mr. Speaker, I also think it is also proper for us to take our minds a little back to other situations when we condemn the executive, and in that there are certain basic literal things that we want them to do, like sweeping towns, which they are not doing. When again they introduce a voted that is going to help in making sure that our towns are in order, it is only proper to appreciate that it is okay for them to do that. Of course, the math as done, I will agree that most likely it is normally for people who would want to manage our towns weekly. I don't want to speak for them. Mr. Speaker, I am just interested through the chair on page 9 on the departmental expenditure summary. And Mr. Speaker, I'm interested so much on this one for one thing. There's a time I sat with the CEC in charge of finance just before the first quarter of the financial year, and we were discussing absorption. And I told her that it needs now to move to the level where when a report is brought that has political implications, and those political implications are negative, we'll have to agree that we must have to hold an individual responsible. Mr. Speaker, we are 9 months after the approval of the last budget. I am not challenging the committee, but the committee has done proper in showing us the absorption 9 months later. But I have shied off a recommendation by them, and I would be not asking the chair to make a recommendation here. I would be asking that we find it necessary to bring a substantive motion that will look into the absorption of this county, the time it takes to start absorption, the reasons for delayed absorptions, and the proper actionable actions that needs to be taken to ensure that we are not under lists of shame like we were in the first quarter where we had zero absorption. Right now, just the other day, the governor was again on newspapers for all the long reasons. We must ask ourselves, who takes responsibility? I'm commending the Finance and Economic Planning Department, which has quite a bit of an absorption rate of 83%. But Mr. Speaker, I have a problem with the three key. I call them key because the development drivers of this country are either roads, water, or health. If you look at roads, for instance, their absorption was at 14%. You have allocated the department 1.033 billion. In 9 months, as per this report, they have only been able to spend 154 million. I am desirous of the nature of magic, and I have the chair, Honorable Bogo, here. I would really want to know this magic that is going to happen. That in 9 months, you only were able to absorb 154 million, but in 3 months, towards the closure of the year, you are going to absorb a balance of an equivalent of almost 900 million. I'm desirous of the chair for water to tell me how such a critical department with clear cut, because there are not even struggles, with clear cut, well itemized projects is boasting of 5% absorption. That out of 414 possible amounts of money that should have gone to development, 9 months later, the Department of Water was only able to spend 23 million. I really want to see this magic that they are going to use to spend 300 plus million in 3 months. That is a spending of 100 million per month. Mr. Speaker, I would wish that we look into a way of bringing a substantive motion that will take these people responsible. Because specifically when you say, like in water, that they only have a 5% absorption, and when the governor's picture appears on the Daily Nation with a zero absorption, when the face of the government politically is castigated, and when I go to engineer and I have to explain why we do not have any development, I think somebody needs to take responsibility. This wage bill we are talking about, it explains that we have a lot of people in offices to do work. And if you compare the recurrent expenditure, the absorption on the recurrent expenditure vis-a-vis the absorption on development, it tells you then that somebody wakes up in the morning, comes to office, and does not do anything. Because there is no other explanation you have towards it. If you are saying that water, climate change, and natural resources was only able to spend 5% of its money in 9 months, it tells you moving from the CECM all the way to the procuring entity, to the chief officers, that they have not been doing anything that is assistive to the governor for making it possible for this county to move forward. And that is why I'm suggesting, if acceptable, that we bring a substantive motion to specifically look into the absorption in this county and hold specific people responsible so that the problems I am facing, like for example, Mr. Speaker, and I direct to Honorable Bogo, the chair for roads. When you say that some place in January 8 is the time tenders were floated, and March 13, no LSOs are there, I would really want to know what has been, what is this that has been, what is being done that between almost 3 months you cannot be able to release people to go and work. When this, as a government, understands its cycle, we know the dry spells and we know when we should be able to be making roads. When we had a 3-month grace period granted by God, good weather, to go and construct our roads, now the LSS will start being given out in the next 1, 2, 3 weeks. When the rains, the weatherman is telling us, we brace for heavy rains ahead. So the question is, who takes responsibility? That is my point. And my point is that we must hold somebody responsible. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Minority. Yeah, we have Honorable Mbogo.
Thank you, Mr. Is tedious. Again, it is competitive because we are talking about resources. Each and every department, when a chairman of a certain committee is on the floor, speaks of his committee or its department rather. But me, I will zero in on issues like one, conditional grants. Mr. Speaker, it is expected of us as a house and as a committee, as the extension of the house, that as we are approving the itemized budget, we be furnished with schedules. So it's a wake-up call to the chairman and the department that this time round we are going to make sure as a committee and as a house we are going to approve this year's itemized budget that we are setting ceilings for later today with schedules that are showing where the grants are going to be spent. Why do I say that, Mr. Speaker? For instance, when we talk of FROCA, people have been hearing about FROCA. Mr. Speaker, it is clear. If you get one program of FROCA, it is going to the tunes of 15 million. Maybe there are members who don't understand. It is going to the tunes of 15 million. And it is money of development aspect taken to award. If you get 3, 4, and other at the expense of other wards, then it means the skewness of the development must be realized, as Mheshimiwa Kamwana was mentioning. The other one is purchase of equipment and things that have been mentioned in the budget. We have allocated, because the executive brought an allocation of purchase of new equipment. Mr. Speaker, I would urge and request the chairman, as the itemized budget is being tabled, we would request that the machine, the specific machines that are going to be bought, they be specified. There is a big difference between a case machine and a Komatsu or even the Caterpillar. They are different. So when they are being tabled, let it be tabled the exact make of the machine that is going to be bought. Because if that is not done, it can bring a lot of issues that I don't want to mention. Let us make sure as a committee, as an extension, that we are going to achieve this. The other one is FIF that have been mentioned and talked about. Mr. Speaker, this was a bill that was brought to try and improve facilities. As we are speaking, we don't know what exactly these facilities are doing with the government or rather the money that is expected to be spent, that is from the public money. As we are tabling the budget, because now what we have given power to around 80 or 100 institutions to be spending public money, that is not followed. When they were getting from Exchequer, there were some approvals, there were questions, there were budgets, and even the schedules. If we are not cautious as a house, what will happen is that the money that is collected in these institutions, one of them being GAM, I don't know the magic that happened. I heard the chairman saying that in the invention, immediately after the invention of FIF, they have doubled their resource mobilization. I fail to understand the chemistry or the magic that is in there. So I'm calling this house, as we are approving the itemized budget, we also need to see how they expect to use their budget that they are going to get. Somebody mentioned that the majority of the revenue we are getting from them. I agree. Majority of the revenue was coming from the hospitals. But remember, we were also funding them to do their development. If they are able to collect their money and then they solve their issues, they don't come requesting for money from us, then we don't have any problem, because budget is an input and an output. Last but not least, introduction of new items during the budget making cycle. Mr. Speaker, you bear me witness. Budget making is a cycle. It starts all the way with timelines from September, where we make annual development plan. It is tabled. We discuss about it, which is taken, or which is is a segment that is borrowed from the CIDP. We move to setting the ceilings. We move to itemization. When you introduce a new program at the point of setting ceilings, and then you introduce a program worth 200 million, I fail to understand which one will be eliminated. So we are calling to the executive. If you have a plan of doing something, introduce it at the time of ADP, which is agreeable, which can be negotiated. But when you introduce a 200 million program at the point of setting of ceilings, then I fail to understand which one will be eliminated. These are documents, or they are documents that are usually subjected to public participation. We need public participation during the ADP. Our people came in, they know what is going to be done. We're now setting the ceilings. When we reduce almost 80% of what was in ADP and then we introduce other programs, it will not be portraying what was said. The minority leader has mentioned my name. I don't want to explain because it is the work of the department. In fact, I will be joining you hands with you, asking questions, because we approved the budget in July. What is limiting the executive procuring from the 1st of July? I fail to understand. I fail to understand why they come to do procuring or procurement in the final cycle of the year, and they had the budget for 9 months. It's a wake-up call to both the chairman of finance and budget. Remind your departments, because it is being managed in the finance. Remember, the sectoral committees have their work, and the finance committee and the budget, the finance department has its role of procurement. So, with those very many remarks, I support and call the mover.
Thank you, Honorable Mbogo. The mover can respond.
Honorable Speaker, this afternoon I'm a very happy man, because from the response of the members, they can only tell you that they have read the report, they have an in-depth understanding, they have raised very fundamental issues, and I can tell you these are great members who are here and they are doing their role of representation. I want to start by Honorable Geshe, because he had very serious critical issues that he has raised. And one thing I want to disabuse about Honorable Geshe, that he has misinformed the House, is that the health is generating money, and we are taking the money and we are not giving back to health. Honorable Geshe is aware of the FIF. The FIF law is very clear that you generate and you use at the facility. So whatever amount of money that these health facilities are going to collect is not coming to OSR, to the own source revenue, or to the consolidated account of the county. That will be money that will be used in those facilities. So we encourage them to collect as much as possible and use. And remember, there is a gap in law within FIF. You cannot, if JM collect 400 million, we cannot take a single cent from JM. The money collected within a facility can only be used within that facility. And that is why we are encouraging that even after they have collected a lot, they should not use it only for recurrent. They should also have a plan even to improve the development within those facilities. The other thing that I want Honorable Geshe to note, the question we should be asking ourselves are two. Number one, we are now a half year. Have we audited the FIF? How much has been collected so far within FIF? Number two, initially, we used to give around 140 to 160 million for strategic stocks. That is before when we had FIF. The question we should be asking ourselves, how much of this out of 160 million strategic stock was going to JM and engineer, which are referral hospitals, and how much was going to other facilities?
Information to the chair.
Honorable Speaker, I'll give him time as I finish this statement. I welcome the information. So that now, when we are allocating strategic stocks, remember we are only allocating strategic stock for county hospitals, sub-county hospitals, and dispensaries. And that is why we had proposed 70. But we have increased that to 100 million. That is without JM and without. So when he says there will be no Piriton, I totally disagree with him. Unless there is theft within the department, we have provided enough. And also remember, the national government has provided 4 billion for primary health care. What does it mean? Anybody who is registered at a SHI or a SHA and even not paying, and you go for checkup in our primary health care facilities, those primary health facilities can claim money even if the owner or the patient have not paid. Because primary health care, according to SHA, is free. I welcome the information from Honorable Geshe.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. You see, this is the next fight is the fight on ideology. Mr. Speaker, I don't dispute the fact that we have FIF. But, Chair, what was happening initially, out of 168 strategic stock, 55 million was going to JM and engineer. So we were left with 113 million going to other facilities. Right now, JM and engineer, they are better placed to take care of their needs. But the small dispensary in Rurie, with the matter FIF, they may not be doing good. And this FIF has come at a time when we wanted to increase the strategic stock to 250 so that it is sufficient or is enough. So what am I saying? Bottom up. These small hospitals in our villages, despite the national government intervention, that is where the problem is. The engineer will do better, JM will do better, but our other facility will perform dismally. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. I think that is informative. And Honorable Speaker, I want just to agree with him. If we were providing, we had 113 for other facilities, it only means that there is a gap of 13 million. And then it also means, and I can tell you, because I visited Wajo Health Center, they will increase their claims from the national government through the SHA and SHI. And actually, what I have done, Honorable Speaker, out of the goodwill, and sometimes this is not the problem of this assembly, it is the problem of the executive. Actually, I have also communicated to the Chair Health that we need to sit down between the budget committee, the health committee, the executive, both the Department of Finance and also the Department of Health. Number one, we audit FIF. Number two, we audit strategic stocks. And then we can be able to stand within this assembly with the facts and be able to say this is the much that we need. I don't think there is anybody in this county, who would want a situation where we don't have medicine in our facilities. These are the facilities that our parents, our brothers, and our sisters go. So we want proper health care within our county. And I think this is just a document, CFSV or planning. If you are able to do that before the itemization budget, there is always an allowance for deviation, of which we can be able to stable in this house. And we say that we have audited the FIF, we have been able to look at the strategic stocks, we have been able to bring all these factors on the table, and there will be need an increase for that strategic stock. My committee is very willing, because we are here to serve the larger population of Nyandarua County. The other issue, and I want to request the members to forgive us on this. You know, I'm saying we have been banning the midnight oil. I've consulted my secretariat, and we had restated. Actually, the executive had reduced the funding of the sub-county hospitals from 10 million to 5 million, of which the budget committee restated back to 10 million. So there is no cause of worry. But the other thing we have said, there are some money that is coming through the KDSP that is essentially supposed to, around 325 million, that essentially is supposed to go to a major project. And what we have said, we want at least one of the sub-county hospitals to be elevated to level 4 hospital, so that it can start gaining from the FIF. So we are looking, and we have stated, and we want the executive to support us, to do an audit of Babu, to do an audit of Manunga. We are yet to know whether we are going to audit Shamuka or Gano in Orjororok, and also audit Daragwa. At least tell us what is the need of this hospital to be elevated to the next level. Because at least we are fighting to have at least 4 other extra level 4 hospitals in this county, so that people can still pay and benefit from FIF. We are doing that, but we are only requesting the executive to support us on this course. Finally, on the issue of health, because I wanted to exhaust the issue of health, because it was successfully been debated by the DS, and I think there is an issue of health in Kipipiri by the DS and also honorable member for Kipipiri. There is the issue of CHP. That is the issue that I was looking. Honorable Geshe, I want to tell you, there was a mischief, and you are aware of this. The program for CHPs is a national, is a both national and county, where it is a sharing for a sharing program. We have been able to give the data to the national government that we need 41.2 million as a grant from the national, and so the county is expected to give the same amount, of which we provided at ADP. But at the CFSP, they brought a budget of 50 million. And then we requested, why have you increased 9 million? They told us they want to motivate. The best motivation that you can do to the CHPs of Nyandarua is to pay their dues. Other things are shenanigans. Because we did, and Honorable Geshe knows in Health Committee, state that whenever they are paying salaries within their payroll for the staff of Nyandarua County, the requisition for CHP should be done at the same time. But they are not doing. Last financial year, we provided 26 million for CHP. They just paid for 3 months. Currently, I can tell you they are not to the up-to-date. They have not paid up to January or up to February. So we don't need any other motivation. Can you pay fast what they have not paid? And then we can start talking. Otherwise, it is a mischievous way of increasing a budget. Some money will be withdrawn somewhere, and it will end up to the same stomach that are consuming the monies for CHP people. I think I want to conclude on the matter of health at that point. And I also want to go to Honorable Moendi, who raised very fundamental issues on the issue of OSR. And I think, you know, Moendi is a very tricky man. I never thought he would see this, but I want to agree with him. But when it comes to OSR, when we collected 515, it was also inclusive of the FIF, of which was about 200 million. So actually from without OSR, we collected 315 million. But now we have put it at 600. And I want to agree with Mohende that he's saying that we have overestimated with an approximation of almost 300 million. But I want to tell Honorable Mohende that we were able to collect 315 or 515 with the kind of the struggle that we had with the finance bill. Remember that most of the people did not pay. There was a lot of litigation. The alcohol people did not pay. There are so many business permits, single business permits that did not pay. We are hopeful that this year things will become, people will be able to pay. And even if we don't get the 600 mark that we have given, at least we will be at the 450, 500, which is a bit manageable. Let's be positive and see what will happen. But I can assure you, Honorable Mohede, this is not like last year where we had 1.2 billion. We are trying to work within our limit, and we also want to give some pressure to the executive to do something and collect revenue. It is attainable if there is proper planning, if there is coordination, and if there is goodwill. It is attainable. The issue of discrepancies that you have raised in page 8, I think you should congratulate the committee, because it is us who have raised the issue, that we have noted there is a discrepancies on what was reported from the CFSP and the COB reports. And actually, Honorable Speaker, I also want to put into challenge to the Finance Committee, because this is a committee that is now dealing with the financial reports, that is financial statements, to bring this report and explain to us. That is why I did not do much. That is not within our domicile. It is not within our domain to deal with those discrepancies. It is the Finance Committee now to come and tell us why there is misrepresentation of reports between the COB and the Treasury. And I think they are working on that, because every time these reports come here, they are subjected to sectoral committees and the Finance Committee to look at the why. But we have given a pointer, there is an issue on reporting. And then I agree with him that the national government is impeding devolution. We are aware what has happened with the fuel levy, with the likes of Kimani Ichung'wah. But we have a lost regime, and I can say this on Hansard. It is misguided in its priorities. When a majority leader of a National Assembly stands in the National Assembly and says that governors don't do roads, should be ashamed of himself. Should be ashamed of himself. If those are the like of people that we are going to expect to support devolution, then we are doomed. Sometimes even sycophancy requires sense. You don't just speak things to please your boss. We have seen how today they are claiming that Dede Nyoro has allocated himself small money. It has been given since 2014. He has only received 1.5 billion. The likes of Kimani Ichung'wah and Suna MP have received 1.4 billion. They decided to squander their money. They decided to use his money appropriately. Can they tell us what they have done with their 1.4 billion? The problem with this country, and more specifically national, is sycophancy without sense. Honorable Speaker, I want to go to Stephen Matimo. I think I have very successfully dealt with the idea of CHPs. The capitation of the ECD. I had stated that we provided 10 million in the last financial year, which was not appropriated or not used because there was no regulations. And I have received that I have also even received a communication from the Secretariat in the Education Committee. What we did pass a policy, Honorable Speaker, in this assembly. We did pass a policy last year, something of the sort. But you know what the COB has claimed? We don't need a policy, we need regulations. We started with a policy. You know, when it comes to TVET, we are able to only to create guidelines and a policy, and money is transferred to the TVET. Why? Because they have boards. They already have boards. So they have the procurement committees, they have everything. That is very easy for the board, for the TVET and secondary schools. But when it comes to our ECDs, do we have boards? Do we have? So what the COB has requested is we have a fund. The capitations becomes a fund and is managed by a fund, as a fund. So what happens? We create a board that will be able now to look at the whole process of capitation. That is what is required of the department. Sit down, prepare regulation, and also prepare a bill or an act that will come to this assembly for approval. I hope Gadonko is here, but the vice chair is around to communicate the same to the committee. So the other issue is the issue of titling. We'll take that. By the time we are doing the itemization, we know which pieces of land are being, and what is this money expected to do, the 10 million for titling. I want to go to Honorable Kamwana, who has been able, and Kamwana has been very vocal on the issue of marginalization, and also on the issue of the word that collect match should also get a match. Honorable Kamwana, I want to advise you that you should now focus on municipality if you want to get extra money. If you bring the issue of marginalization, who collect what and who do not collect what, it will not see the light of the day in the kind of setup that we have, the political setup we have today. So if you want to get more money, can you concentrate to make sure that you get more money within the municipalities and it will cover you? Otherwise, we don't have a formula of making sure to know which ward produced more than the other. Though, because for example, you realize, for example, in Wanjohi ward, I produce a lot of quarry materials at around Demi, but that money is calculated within Orokarau sub-county. It is not allocated within Wanjohi, because at Wanjohi we have what we call Kipipiri sub-county. That is why we have the revenue officers, or tabulating the revenue officers. But a lot of money, you see there are so many lorries that come from Kipipiri, but we don't have a, what do we call it? The test point, what do we call it? It is there almost at Kinagop. So they go collecting money from the test point at Kwaharaka down there, and they claim it is money coming from Kinagop, yet it is a lorry that was coming from Wanjohi. So
point of information, Honorable Speaker.
Do you need the information, Chair?
I always accept information.
Quickly, Honorable Speaker, because of interest of time, I want to remind Honorable Kongo that earlier on we had said as much as we allocate money according to the wards, the same should happen when we come to the issue of financing. That is looking for that money. So, Honorable Kongo, our chair, I can also be able to see the challenges that we are having, but we are proposing that we should have a revenue calculation center at every ward, and it will help us a great deal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sawa, I think I get that contribution. It's a good idea, and I think if we're able to come up with a formula how much is collected within a ward, it's okay, because we also put a challenge to make sure that through our wards we are able to improve our revenue sources. But I want to conclude. I want to conclude by telling Honorable Kamwana that the issue of municipalities, you should appreciate the budget. That within the recurrent expenditure, they were provided with 10 million, but we have increased that to 15. That is within the recurrent expenditure. But when it comes to development, especially for engineer municipality, we are expecting around 250 million, which has not been factored because it is yet to be approved. And we know, we were able to request, and we are told that we have gone through the process of vetting. There are no problems. So any time soon, we expect to get 250 million funding from the World Bank, which most of that fund will go exclusively into development of the municipality. So you should not worry a lot. If they're asking question what you have done within 2 years, you are preparing, very soon they will see 250 million, and they will appreciate why they needed a municipality. The issue of DS, I will not go back to health, but I want to talk about irrigation. I agree with you. It is a contradiction. It's an irony that we are feeding nations, but we are accepting donations for rice and beans. to give to people in Kenya and other places. So I think it is not right to reduce money for irrigation. We will keep fighting for more resources, but at the same time to make sure that the money available, especially for FROCA and other programs, is well utilized and everyone benefit. Finally, Honorable Speaker, I agree with Minority Leader. He's very passionate about absorption, but before that, he has made a fund on the sweepers. The introduction of 3 million for the sweepers. Minority Leader, I don't know what kind of a program is that. Because if you wanted street to be swept, you provide money for cashews. You don't say you are providing money for sweepers. There is a lot to to that program. Because if you wanted the street to be swept, you just say you want more money for cashews to go and sweep the streets. And that is why we don't really understand why do you introduce a program and say money for sweepers, 3 million. You know. But Minority Leader has raised a very serious point on an analysis that you have been able to give on absorption, expenditure analysis. And it is very disheartening that we have only absorbed 4.64% by the half year. Okay, there are many reasons to that, but I don't want to defend the executive. The reason we never gave a recommendation is because today we are dealing with the CFSP. And we are very aware, starting from today evening, we will be dealing with the supplementary budget. And you will be able to see what will be our resolution when it comes to absorption during our supplementary budget report. We just stated let us today deal with the CFSP, ceiling for the next financial year. But when it comes to supplementary, we are very serious on that. Again, Honorable Speaker is aware that I have requested something from the Honorable Speaker, that we should organize a meeting between the County Assembly and the Executive, where we are going to invite each and every department for a whole house. And the sole business will be budget implementation report. You will come and stand before this assembly as CCM and your team. You will tell us from the Department of Water why. And after that, I would encourage Honorable Minority Leader to bring the substantive motion with resolutions. Honorable Speaker, I thank all the members. You make this work very interesting, entertaining, good. God bless you for your good participation. I move.
Thank you, Honorable Chair, and by extension, all the members, for your immense contribution. I now put the question, which is that this House does adopt a report of the Committee on Budget and Appropriations on the Nyandarua County Fiscal Strategy Paper, CFSP, for financial year 2025-2026 as a report of the House and the recommendations therein as the resolution of the House. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. And the ayes have it. Honorable members, congratulations. You have approved the County Fiscal Strategy Paper, that is the CFSP. Further, honorable members, the House Business Committee has today approved some other business for consideration in this sitting. As such, we shall now proceed to the supplementary order paper. First order.
Order number 1, administration of oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair.
I have no communication to make.
Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers. Mr. Speaker, sir. Under this order, we have papers to be laid by Honorable Elijah Mwanginyaga, leader of the majority party.
Very well. Thank you, Honorable Whip, holding brief for Honorable Majority Leader Mwanginyaga.
Honorable Speaker, I wish to lay the Nyandarua County Supplementary Budget estimates for the County Executive and the County Assembly for the financial year 2024-2025. I also wish to lay the annual county government's budget implementation review reports for the financial year 2024-2025. And I table, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. The budget estimates are duly tabled. I refer the same to the Budget and Appropriations Committee to report back to the House. If it's Chairperson, Budget and Appropriations Committee, you can tell us how many days do you need to report back to the House?
Chair, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Yes, what is it, Honorable Matimo?
Maybe as the Chair Budget gives the timelines, I would humbly request that, because I know it will be having some timelines, I would humbly request that the same should be furnished to us so that we can scrutinize that budget with a toothpick. Thank you.
Chair, maybe you can proceed and answer the question.
Thank you. They have just become the property of the House. I think the Secretariat will do the necessary. But Honorable Speaker, I want to say that we want 14 days to deal with the supplementary. But I want to state this, Honorable Speaker, you allow me. The reason why we don't want to take a lot of time with the supplementary. Remember that we are at the middle of the third quarter of the financial year, and we want to finish this business before the end of this month, because within the month of April, we can allow the executive to approve the budget and also prepare the procurement plan to allow 60 days, that is May and June, for implementation of the project. So I am requesting, especially, more specifically, the elected members who are representing the awards. Tomorrow and Friday, avail yourself to meet with the Secretariat budget, because we are not going to add extra time. We want, by the time we go for the summit, we leave the Secretariat working on the document. I expect to table this document for supplementary budget by 26th of this month, which is 14 days from now.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Clerk, be it on record that within 14 days the same will be brought back to the House. Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Not really. This, yes.
I think there is another document.
Yeah, there is another document. The annual county budget. Has it been tabled?
Yes.
They have been tabled both. Yes. In regard to the second, that is annual county government budgets implementation review report, that is financial year 23-24. The budget report is duly tabled. I refer the same to all sectoral committees to report back to the House within 45 days on departmental budget implementation if they have not already done so. I also refer the same to budget and to budget and report to budget and appropriation committee for noting. Clerk, next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion. Order number 7, statements. Order number 8, motions and bills. Mr. Speaker, sir, under this order we have a motion to be made by Honorable Elijah Mwangi-Nyaga, the leader of Majority Party.
Very well. Honorable Minority Leader, holding brief for Majority Leader. Honorable Mwangi-Nyaga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the following motion that pursuant to Standing Orders 29, this House does resolve to adjourn to a day other than the next normal sitting day in accordance with the Assembly's calendar, such that the House does resolve to adjourn its sittings from its sittings of today, the 12th day of March 2025 at 2:30 p.m. to Tuesday, the 25th day of March 2025 at 9:30 p.m. Mr. Speaker, this is necessitated AM. I want to correct that it is to Tuesday, 25th day of March 2025 at 9:30 a.m. And Mr. Speaker, this is necessitated by the need to come together with the other county assemblies in what is normally an organization of bringing assemblies together by the County Assemblies Forum, so that we can together look at the legislative agendas that we have. It is important because it is in this forum that county assemblies compare notes in terms of the successes of different counties, in terms of how many bills have they passed, the controversial laws that we need to look into, and the experiences shared between county assemblies, and what new needs to be taken into account. It is important for the members to attend so that they can also sharpen their skills after comparing notes with their counterparts from the different county assemblies across the country. For this to happen, Mr. Speaker, then we need to, of course, agree that we move this motion, and we will be asking our members to make sure that we have looked into critical issues which we shall use in our legislative agendas moving forward, which we will have been able to gain from the undertaking within that particular period. I am moving this, and I ask Honorable Beto Aheto, member of CAF, to second.
Yes, Honorable Aheto.
Mr. Speaker, I second.
Thank you. I now propose a question, which is that pursuant to Standing Order 29, this House does resolve to adjourn to a day other than the next normal sitting day in accordance with the Assembly calendar, such that the House does resolve to adjourn its sittings from its sittings of today, 12th day of March 2025 at 2:30 p.m. to Tuesday, the 25th day of March 2025 at 9:30 a.m. Yes, Honorable Ngeshe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You see, Mr. Speaker, I rose to support that we indeed need to go and know what is not happening in the legislative summit. Because this morning, Mr. Speaker, I was called. This could be my 8th year here. I have never received a call from the CAF, but this morning I received a call inviting me there. Since then, I have not even up to now received it from this assembly. This time will help me to analyze and internalize what is happening from the other end. You see, Mr. Speaker, this is a red sign. This is a red signal that maybe we don't have CAF. Maybe we don't have the forum for MCs. And that is why I support the around the 14 days or 11 days, so that we can go and connect and realign. And you see, the other time I had Sabrey is out, and he was the chair, CAF. So I want to familiarize myself with this information, Mr. Speaker, so that I can also make an informed decision whether to remain in CAF or in a legislative summit. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Commissioner. Yes, Honorable Minority. Or we are moving to someone else.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker.
Did you call the member?
Unless I am directed, I had not called the mover. So I called the mover. Observing the mood of the House, I now call the mover to respond.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wish to thank the members, and I wish to confirm that CAF exists, and that we are a membership of CAF, and it is at the invitation of CAF and the organization of CAF that we are attending the legislative summit, and I thank everybody.
Honorable members, I open the question, which is that pursuant to Standing Order 29, this House does resolve to adjourn to a day other than the next normal sitting day in accordance with the Assembly calendar, such that the House does resolve to adjourn its sittings from its sittings of today, the 12th day of March 2025 at 2:30 p.m. to Tuesday, the 25th day of March 2025 at 9:30 a.m. May those of a similar opinion say aye. May those of a contrary opinion say nay. The ayes have it. Clerk, next order.
Mr. Speaker, sir, we've exhausted the business in both the main order paper and supplementary order paper for the afternoon sitting.
There being no other business to transact during this sitting, I now adjourn the House to Tuesday, the 25th day of March 2025 at 9:30 a.m.